Well, hi there. It's Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio. I'm Jerry Usher, and my partner on the air is Debbie Georgiani. The show team, Jeff, is on board today. Michael Birchfield is helping out, and we got Ryan Penny on the calls, screening your calls at 833-288-EWTN, 833-288-3986. And Debbie, you should be proud of me because the number 877 just about came out of my mouth right there.
I'm just laughing because though I'm going to totally, date ourselves here, folks. Do you remember the I Love Lucy episode where she played all these different characters in one broadcast, where she put on a hat and she was like the hotel clerk, and then she put on another hat and she ran over and she was the postal person, the postal service person or whatever, and then the county clerk. It was hilarious. I feel like that today, Jerry. We switched from the Station of the Cross Spring Appeal over to Take Two, and I had to get my bearings. I felt, and I started giggling. I thought of I Love Lucy. What a great show.
It was. Yeah, and that's thus my joke about the phone number. I almost gave out the Station of the Cross's pledge drive phone number, but Debbie and I are off the pledge drive for this hour to be with you, our listeners.
That's right.
And we have what we think, Debbie, I believe is going to be a very lively conversation, a very touching conversation. Mm-hmm. We're going to be talking today about rescue animals. And anyone who's listening, if you have rescued an animal or been rescued by one, as some people would say, how did that come about that you came upon that pet, maybe adopted it, or a friend gave it to you, or how did you come into your pet, especially if you rescued one from a shelter or some other, difficult situation?
Okay, so Jerry, you posted on take2show.com, and you posted about this show today, so we want to hear from you. Please dial in at 833-288-3986 and share about your beautiful pet, that person that joined your family, your household, that person, that adorable creature, I should say. Mine acts like a person. What can I say? And you want how you acquired that furry little friend of yours that's keeping you comfort. 833-288-3986. And if I may, though, Jerry posted, and Jerry, you started something, and this could be this could be our first fight, folks, on air. Everybody always says in 5 years we've never argued and never disagreed. This could be the time that it all changes. Are you ready? Yes, this is a problem, Jerry, and you did it. You did it. I did not start this fight, okay? Some of our Take Two listeners are saying that they went to take2show.com and they saw two adorable pictures of little Gracie and little Duke. Both of them are on pillows, just relaxing on their favorite chair. And some want us to post it on our Facebook page and do a contest to see who's cuter. And I said, no, I won't do that to Duke. I said, I will not do that. Gracie will not do that.
Well,
see?
Yeah. Gracie is cuter, but I don't want to say that too loud.
But these pictures are so sweet. How did you get Duke to do that? He imitated Gracie. I think that is so sweet. But your dog, Duke, is a rescue dog, correct?
He is, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Mine isn't. Mine's just she's.
Well, I'm sure there are
papers.
days when she rescues your emotions and your feelings and your thoughts, rescues your heart every day.
That's true. But I will tell you, though, my first dog, I only had 2 dogs in my adult life. My first dog, Taffy, was saltwater Taffy. Those of you from New Jersey, you remember how we used to love from southern Jersey, saltwater Taffy. I named her Taffy. She was a beagle, and she was with us for 17 and a half years, Jerry. And she was a rescue. I loved her to pieces. But now we have Gracie. She's a little bit more, I don't know. She thinks she's awesome because she has papers, but she does like Duke, though. She does like Duke. When she hears Duke on the phone, she hasn't ever met him in person yet.
He's a good boy.
Do you see, folks, what I was trying to do? I was trying to get Jerry to say that because Jerry, every time he talks about Duke, he says he's a good boy.
He's a really good boy. Yeah, but this is a wide open conversation here, folks. So if you've had an experience with taking in an animal and doing that particular animal a beautiful favor, maybe it's helped to make you happier, more fulfilled in your home. Maybe your kids have been asking for a pet of some kind. It doesn't have to be dogs and cats. Maybe you've taken in a spider or a snake, or I don't know, some people take in pigs, I guess, as pets. I'm not really sure about that. I've never thought about that, but what made you choose the animal that you did? Do you have more than one rescue animal? Let's talk about this at 833-288-3986.
Oh, that's not possible, Ryan. Stop it. Is he just joking? There's such a thing as a rescue tarantula? You can't, really?
I would think so, yeah.
He
was kidding.
Oh, he's kidding. See, you believed Ryan? That's so funny. Okay, so let me just comment. We have some messages coming in already from the Take Two family. And and by the way, we're on Inspired by Faith Book Club right now. They're watching us right now. Hi, everybody on Facebook and YouTube. So that's what John, Gigi's husband, says about their dog, Winston. What is that, Gigi? You left a half of a comment here. Is that Winston's a good boy? I'm assuming that all of pet owners think their pets are good boys and good girls, right?
Yeah, I would hope so.
Gracie's great.
She's adorable.
Awesome. She really is. Isn't she cute?
Yeah.
I mean, we're lucky to live in the same home with her. When we come home, she looks at us like, "You're home again?"
What inspired you and Marty to get Gracie?
I went through the divorce. Gracie, do you talk about rescuing? Let me tell you, Gracie definitely, it was amazing how she came about. Marty picked her out. She has two other sisters, and Marty picked her out, and she jumped on Marty's lap, and it was pretty amazing. She definitely rescued me sometimes because, dogs can bring you happiness when you're feeling down, just to see their cute little smile.
It's hard to ever get upset with them, no matter what they do.
True. Very true. Yeah.
Well, there's a beautiful story about the way Duke came to live here, and I will maybe share a couple minutes of that on the other side of this break. But we have a couple of open phone lines today. You've seen those bumper stickers, who rescued who? People who rescue animals also feel like they have been rescued or assisted in some special way. So if you've done that for a pet, tell us why, what made you make that decision, how it's changed your life. 833-288-3986. Back to take your calls, starting with Christine.
John Martinoni.
Okay, the serpent was Satan, essentially. He had taken the form of a serpent. Satan is culpable because he tempted them to evil. He is not responsible for their sin. They had free will. They could have said no. Satan is culpable because he tempted them to do something contrary to the will of God.
Open Line with John Martinoni. Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio.
And there is power in prayer, because prayer is more important than breathing. Prayer can change the circumstances you are in. Prayer can change the world. The most important thing you ever do is pray. And so when you pray, God, you can do anything. And I know you love me more than I love me. So God, I'm handing this all over to you. And I know miracles can happen in my life, and they will.
If you're currently an EWTN media missionary or just interested in becoming one, we've got some great news. EWTN Media Missionaries has a new and improved website, EWTNmissionaries.com, designed with you in mind. Our new site is loaded with great features, and it's easy to navigate. There are so many different ways that you can help EWTN. Join us in sharing the eternal word with the world. Visit EWTNmissionaries.com today.
We're talking about rescue animals today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. So we want to hear from you. When a line becomes open, please jump on it and tell us about your dog. Yes, you can say that they're a good boy or a good girl. You can tell us anything about them, if they are a rescue, a pet, or if they have their papers. Like Gracie has her papers somewhere in the drawer. I mean, we didn't breed her, so they kind of They kind of just papers we've never looked at again. So you want to talk about that? Whatever you want to share with us, we want to listen. And yes, we're getting messages already, Jerry, that they would like you, Jerry, if you can, after the show on Jerry and Debbie Facebook page, if you can post those 2 pictures of Gracie and Duke. I hope this doesn't start the end of our friendship, Jerry. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say I'm sorry right up front.
Why? You haven't explained why you're upset, why this could cause our first fight on the air.
Because Gracie's going to win the contest. I mean, come on.
I thought it was because the picture of Duke is so much bigger, which I took on my phone. When you sent me the picture of Gracie, I thought, you have to have one that's bigger than that because all the pictures on my phone are huge.
Oh, wow. No, I have to admit, okay, when Duke first came into Jerry's life, he was cute. I hope Duke's not listening right now. He was cute, but he has actually grown into being a very good-looking dog. When he was kind of scrawny.
He's filled out a little bit.
He's filled out a lot.
To a whopping 10 pounds.
Is he 10? That's what Gracie is.
Yeah. Wow.
That's awesome. No, he really is cute. You know what, folks? If you have to vote on it, give the award to Duke. He deserves it. All right, he's a good boy. Don't worry, I won't let Gracie know, even though she's a lot older than Duke. She's because he's only what? How many years old? How many?
Not really sure, actually.
You don't.
In our house, he'll be 3 in August. But yeah, okay. I think I've told the story on the air before, but this is absolutely amazing. I live with a beautiful friend, an elderly gentleman, and we share a house together, and we have for a few years. And with all the traveling I've done for pledge drives and work and everything, I was gone so much of the time, and yet I kept saying, we should get a dog, we should get a dog, we should get a dog. And he'd say, well, you know who it would fall to take care of the dog? Me. Well, this guy's like St. Francis. He's never met a pet that he didn't love and vice versa. So it was August 10th of 2017, feast of, actually the next day, August 11th, was the Feast of St. Clair. But on Thursday night, August 10th, we said, okay, we're going to get a dog. August 11th, Friday morning, I finish up the radio show, and I hear this whimpering and whining outside my studio office window. And I thought, well, it must be a dog across the street or something. But I thought, that sounds really close. So I looked outside the window. Inside the locked, gated courtyard was Duke. The morning after we had decided to get a dog.
Wow.
So somebody had to have dropped him over the fence, or God just miraculously put him there. But it's a remarkable story. We tell people that, and they just say, no way.
Yeah. And that's why he was so skinny, because he probably hadn't eaten, right? Is that why he was
sure
so thin?
did that day.
He did. Yeah. Wow. So he's 3? You said 3 maybe?
3 years, August 11th.
Okay.
Here.
Well, then in that case, Gracie's 13 years old, 10 years older than Duke. So she should get the senior award, and he'll get the cute award, the puppy award. Okay, where are we going first? Enough of us bantering back and forth. This is what you get, folks, when we do pledge drives. Okay, our minds are not all there, so you got to help us out. I don't mean to speak for Jerry. I'll just speak for myself. Okay. Christine is up first in Westport, Connecticut, listening on Veritas Radio. Oh, we love your station. First time caller. Hi, Christine. Welcome.
Hello, Christine. Well, we'll see if Ryan can check back in with Christine. Don't want to let her get away without sharing her beautiful story with us. So how about Howard? Howard in Dallas, Texas, listening on Guadalupe Radio, and another first-time caller. Hi, Howard. Welcome to Take Two.
Hello.
Hello. What you got for us?
Can you hear me?
Real well.
Okay. I've got a pretty wild one for you. I met a young lady, first meeting. She volunteered for a project for her club that she just joined. She was highly suicidal, and her shrink wanted her to join the club and see if she could get in with a group of good people, because she had grown up in a horrible life. And well, I just volunteered immediately to help her, because I knew there's no way as a beginner she could even begin to do that. It wanted to be a challenge for me. So she said, great. I met her at her apartment. It was a Friday evening. And I did the project, and she just watched, and she said, "Oh gosh, I could have never done that." And then her mother suddenly showed up, who can only be described as the Wicked Witch of the North. Even the Dallas police couldn't get her to leave, and the lady had two of her own houses, but she was trying to latch onto Barbara's life. And I just said, "Well, I'm sorry, lady, I'm going to be spending the night here. You have to leave." And her mother ran off, and Barbara was shocked. She never saw anybody afraid. Her mother wasn't afraid of anybody, not even the police. And so Barbara said, "Well, if you're going to spend the night," she said, "Where?" And I said, "Well, you don't have a couch. I'll just have to spend the night in your bed. Get to bed." In the morning, Barbara was so surprised that I was able to run her mother off. She said, "Well, do you want to get married?" And I said, "Yep, let's go get married." And so I ran off. We got married. Later, I got the marriage convalidated. And Barbara passed away Easter Sunday, 2018, from Alzheimer's. We married in 1977. I got a house right away because I had a great credit report. Could buy a house without even a down payment, if you can imagine that. And so I got Barbara 2 kittens and a puppy at a garage sale. And all suicide talk went away immediately. In fact, for the first 2 weeks, Barbara had her nose out of joint over because she never had a pet in her life. 2 weeks later, I come home from work. She opens the door and she said, "You know what? Animals can think." I said, "Yeah, and connive and get even and do all kinds of things." And those 2 cats and that 1 dog puppy saved her life. Because in high school in the junior year, somebody talked about, people committing suicide by taking too many sleeping pills, and the priest said, "Oh, great, go to sleep and wake up in hell." And I'm going, "This young lady's not doing that. She didn't know me, and I didn't know her, and we had a great marriage."
So in other
hung up on
words,
me?
no, we're here, Howard. I think we're enthralled by this story. Beautiful the way that God brought the two of you together. But you're saying, if I'm hearing right, that bringing home these pets really had an incredible impact on her emotional and psychological state of mind, to the point where she had been talking about suicide, but then once the animals came into the house, she never did anymore. Is that what I'm hearing right?
That is correct. In fact,
Wow.
Before I met her, she'd already had 1 successful suicide attempt. She arrived dead on arrival at Parkland Hospital. They brought her back because she didn't take quite enough to do the job. And she was telling me she had enough pills at the ready to never make that mistake again. There's 1 kitten that 2 kittens were named Sock and Spats. They were tuxedos. The Spats had a personality exactly like my wife. This cat thought she was the smartest thing in the world, smarter than any living creature on the face of the earth. And my wife had 3 college degrees at high academic achievements in like biochemistry and stuff like that, and even made 100 on an exam at PhD level at UTD. Nobody made 100 on that exam in 14 years. And here this lady is highly suicidal because she can't get away from her mother. And when I left for work, Barbara would be sitting at her desk, and there would be sitting Spats, and they would talk and meow, and it went that way until Spats died after 18 years.
Wow. What a story. Howard, and if I heard you correctly, did you say Barbara left us in 2018 from Alzheimer's? Is that true?
Yeah. She was in the nursing home for 18 years. It was really wild. Christmas morning, 2011, 7:30 in the morning, Barbara rolled over in bed and looked at me and said, "What are you doing in my bed in my mother's house?" Then she ran up the door screaming for help, ended up at church 2 blocks away. Police came out. She ended up in the shrink ward in McKinney, and they said, "Oh, she got advanced Alzheimer's." And I said, "What's that mean?" They said, "Well, she's so brilliant she could hide it for 5 years, but she got to the point where she couldn't hide it anymore."
Right.
Then from there, I went through 3 different nursing homes. You don't even want to hear those stories. But I'll say this much. At the last nursing home, I actually got a preacher to come in every Friday and give everybody a blessing and all that.
Howard, I just want to say, thank you for your dedication to Barbara. It's a really beautiful story, and then a reminder how God's creatures can really bring us that a level of happiness and a level of understanding of things, that we can get through things. And it's, what Barbara went through was way worse than what I went through, Howard. But I said that at the beginning of the show. Gracie, my dog, came into my life after my divorce because I could feel myself feeling very low and not having the kids with me all the time, like your kids are, and then when the divorce happens, you split the time with your kids, and so that was replaced by this beautiful, innocent creature of God, right? Who has always nothing, just has pure love, and it does keep you moving forward. And I think that's an added gift that God gives us humans here on Earth. And I think and your story is a testimony of that. I just want to let you know, Howard, I put you in our prayer book. We pray for the living and the deceased, and I put Barbara in, but I put you in as well, because we want the whole Take Two family to surround you in prayer. You're just a delightful man, and thank you so much for starting off this beautiful conversation in just a wonderful way. And Jerry, if I may say this real quickly, I forgot to say this. I just have to say it because you know how I love the Rosary. EWTN plays the Rosary twice a day, 5:30 a.m. Eastern Time, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Marty and I, we jump on the 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Not that you guys have to do that, but that's twice a day for over 25 years. I just have to state that. I can't pass an opportunity to share the Rosary. But thank you again, Howard.
Indeed, Howard, thank you. Call us anytime. You won't be a first-time caller again. All right, 833-288-3986. Rescue animals is our topic today. How have you come upon one, and how has it changed your life? Maybe even brought you closer to God, or helped to see yourself in your animal, and how God sees you, no judgment or anything like that. Christine would be next, and Christine is in Westport, Connecticut. We'll try again here on Veritas Catholic Radio and a first-time caller. Hi, Christine. Thanks for getting back on here.
Hi, Christine.
Hi. Sorry about that. I'm at work and I had to take a business call. So we love our animals, and we have had German Shepherds in our family for a lot of years. And our Wiley passed away in February, and my husband was very sad about it, and we all were. But we didn't want to go. We weren't ready to go out right away. But a couple of months went by, and we just said, we're feeling ready. And I know my husband wanted another German Shepherd, but we wanted to get a rescue this time instead of paying a lot of money for a purebred dog. So I was just praying and just feeling when the time is right, something will happen. So one day, my husband normally gets off the train at 6:30 p.m., but he called and said, I'm going to get my hair cut, so I'll be on the 7:30 train. So I went to pick him up, and we were going past the local park that was near the train station, and from out of the corner of my eye, I see 10 German Shepherds with one gentleman in the park just throwing the ball, and I was like, how often do you see that? That's crazy. So I said to my husband, do you mind if I stop? And he said, I'm a little tired. I really want to get home. So I went one block, and then I said, I'm sorry, but I have to go back. So we turned around, and we went back, and we got out of the car, and we went over, and it turned out that there was this wonderful, beautiful gentleman named Anthony who rescues all these animals from the shelters, and he takes them in and he trains them and he tries to find homes for them. So the one that I had my eye on, she just caught my eye. I was praying while we were standing there talking to him that she would be the one that was available, and it so happened that she was. and he told us the sad story of why she was put in the shelter. And he said, you can take her home and try her out first to see if, it works. So we were going away, and I said, well, I'll come on Monday to get her. And I went to get her, and I knew in 5 minutes and so she's been with us ever since. And she's just wonderful.
Wow. That is another amazing story. And Christine, we're going to make you wait just a moment here if you don't mind, because we do have got to let our local affiliates take care of a little bit of their business on their end. So we're going to pause just for a moment, but we will get back to you. Debbie and I, I'm sure, have a little thought to share about that amazing account that you just shared with us. And also Christopher is on the line, Jacqueline and Rose, and we have Jane, and we have somebody else having yet to be screened. So busy, active call today, active show on have you rescued a pet, an animal, and how has that been a blessing in your life? 833-288-3986. Take two with Jerry and Debbie. We'll be right back.
Jimmy Akin.
One of my greatest joys in life is the joy of discovery, especially discovering answers to the questions about God, about the world that He's made, and how we can find our way to Him.
The leading Catholic voices are on EWTN Radio.
Well, we're on the road again with the coach, Danny Abramowitz. The road to spiritual fitness this time, a 5-step plan for men. Just finished a wonderful interview with him on the book. Coach, tell us what this book's about and why it's important for men.
I think basically because men are sort of asking themselves, am I really happy the way my life is going right now? And I think our hearts will never rest until it rests with thee, St. Augustine said. And I think this is, Doug, is a guide based on scriptures and the catechism, not my personal opinion of things. I had to walk through this myself over 30-some years, and that's why I put it in this format. It's not a book to read and throw over in the corner. It's not like a journal or whatever. You have to take your time, and it will change your life.
The Road to Spiritual Fitness, a 5-step plan for men, available through Religious Catalog, and look for the entire interview coming soon. And this has been a Bookmark Brief. We appreciate you stopping by. We'll see you next time.
Catholic radio, I believe, is the greatest tool for evangelization that the church has today. And I know this because we hear from people all over the world that tell us all the time they came to faith in Christ, in the Catholic Church, through Catholic radio. Guy that lives right next door to you, he might not ask you about your Catholic faith, but he'll ask us. He'll call in and say, tell me about the Catholic Church.
Dr. David Anders thinks Catholic radio is important. So should you.
Tomorrow on More to Life, the life you were meant to live.
We'll look at how the theology of the body can help you live a more abundant life.
That's tomorrow on More to Life, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 Central on EWTN Radio.
Now, back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hi, it's Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio, heard Monday through Friday at this time, 12 noon Eastern, and a replay at midnight Eastern for those of you who are up a little bit later at night, or maybe your job or certain circumstances keep you away from your radio listening time until the nighttime. We are on again at midnight Eastern time as well. And we're talking with Christine in Westport, Connecticut. Just an amazing story, Christine. You were talking about you wanted a rescue animal over a purebred. I think you said you had a purebred before, and you mentioned that you had to kind of coax your husband into pulling over. You saw those 10 German Shepherds in the park, and he just wanted to get home. I guess he was tired, and you won out on that one. How has that gone? I'm sure both of you have been extremely blessed by that spur-of-the-moment decision you made.
Oh, yes, and I forgot to mention, she is a purebred.
Oh, she is? Okay.
She is She is, yes. And, yeah, I know. I believe all the dogs that were there were purebreds. So the story goes that a couple had bought this beautiful dog from a breeder, and the husband was cheating on the wife, and so the wife, for some reason, was taking it out on the dog, and she had brought the dog to the animal shelter to be put down several times, and they refused. And the last time she took the dog, they took the dog from her, and then they called this beautiful gentleman. His name is Anthony, who has contact with the shelters, and he goes in and he'll get these beautiful dogs that just want love and homes and want to be loved. And so now we have her, and we've had and it just so happens, just miracle upon miracle, that the date that we got her, which we did not know this until we received her papers from Anthony, was her birthday.
Wow.
So we adopted her, on her birthday, which was October 7th. And, and like I said, we did not know that until Anthony had given us her papers. So it's just, it was a miracle all around.
Yeah. Yeah. So she found you for sure. Amazing that happened that way. Christine, let me ask you a question. So what is her official name on the papers, and then what do you call her?
So we kept her name. Her name was Nikki, and we've kept that name for her.
Beautiful.
I don't remember her official name on the papers. I'm sorry, I don't remember that.
Oh no,
and I'm
that's
at work
okay.
right now, so I don't know if Anthony named her Nikki or if that was her name, but we just kept it.
Well, when you look at it, I mean, look how everything lined up that day and how it all happened. And that's the beauty of it, I think, with God's creations. I think it's just beautiful how, the good Lord will present certain circumstances or certain situations that allow us, if that happens, to get this gift into our lives. And I think it's just beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing Nikki's story with us and your story for your family. And we hope that your work understands that this was a very important call, because you were bragging about Nikki. So you probably took your time, your break, talking about your beautiful German Shepherd, right, Jerry?
Very good. Thanks, Christine, so much.
Thank you.
Oh, good.
Okay.
So
good
you're the
deal.
boss.
Okay.
You can take
You're the
whatever
boss,
time off
yeah.
you want. All right. Thanks so much for the call. Our good friend John in Orlando said, "Good morning. I briefly wanted to share with you some of the different pets I've had the opportunity to look after over the last few years. Before my move to Orlando, I was looking after 2 rescue dogs, both of which were Huskies," and he sent pictures of these dogs. They are gorgeous. One was named Dusk and the other Lucas. Each of them have very different personalities. Dusk is the more vocal of the two, while Lucas is an opportunist. He thinks he's clever by coming up for attention when you're eating something. He's definitely a French fry thief. For about a month, we also took in a special needs dog who was a pit bull mix. He couldn't hear, so I would wake him up every morning by gently scratching behind his ears so he knew I was there. He was one of the sweetest dogs I've ever had the opportunity to look after. I nicknamed him Sergeant because of the way he would climb up the stairs. He always slept by my side on the bed, on the pillow that I gave him. Now I'm looking after a mini pincher mix named Jewel. I'm fairly certain she believes herself to be a person. I've caught her watching TV with me on more than one occasion." And so thank you, John, for the great picks and for the listenership of Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Mm-hmm. That is amazing. Gracie does that as well. She actually will watch TV. It's hilarious. And you can actually walk in front of her and she'll still be watching TV. So we really believe she's really into the shows that we watch. So let's hear what Christopher has to say. And Christopher's in Houston, Texas. We could just talk about our dogs all day long and our cats and all our furry friends. Christopher in Houston, Texas on Sirius XM 130. First time caller, you get the virtual bell. I actually have a bell right in front of me from the pledge drive, so I'll give it to you, Christopher. There it is. Welcome.
Howdy.
Howdy. How are you?
So, well, thank you. How are y'all?
Doing well.
Good.
So, tell us your story.
It's a rescue journey. So it started with, on my sister's wedding day, there was a kitten sitting on my mother's doormat, and Aaron got very excited and said, "Somebody gave me a wedding kitten." And my mother said, "No, nobody gave you a wedding kitten. Don't bring that in my house." And so she then, sorry.
No. Go ahead. You keep going.
So they called me, brought this kitten to my house, where he stayed for a few days. I named him Hamish. Well, my former wife and I named him Hamish, and he stayed with us for a few days until we saw the signs that said somebody was missing a kitten and had to take him back, which was a mildly traumatic experience for me because I'd become very attached.
And so...
Nope, sorry, the delay is throwing me off, I guess.
Okay. No. So help me out with this, Christopher. So you had to give, how long did you have the kitten before you had to give it back?
Just a few days.
Oh, just a few days. But you got close to the kitten, right?
I did. And to the point that I actually had the younger of my two sisters call and offer them $150 for this cat.
Wow, you got some nice sisters. My sisters wouldn't have done that, Christopher. That's pretty cool.
Well,
go ahead.
Yeah. So, and then I made my wife at the time take him back because I couldn't do it. I knew I was going to be all week and wouldn't be able to make the drive over there.
So is that the end of the story? You're not going to give us like a happy ending, like maybe you were presented the kitten back again?
No, and then a couple of months later, some friends of my mother took in a kitten that they found in a rainstorm under a dumpster in their daughter's apartment complex. Mm-hmm. Asked us if we wanted her. We said, sure, why not? They brought her over. She was probably only about 3, maybe 4 months old, and as soon as they set her down, she bolted and hid under our entertainment center for, pretty much the rest of the day. And I finally got her to come out by taking a handful of treats. I put one in front of her nose. She ate that one. I put one a little further away and kept doing this until she was all the way out. And then I laid there on the floor with one in the palm of my hand, looking at her. And she came and ate that one. That's Tika, and I have belonged to her ever since.
Mm. And her name is Chica?
Yeah, well, her full name is Puma Tiger Tika, all one word.
Oh, wow. Okay. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and she brings you joy, right?
Oh, so much joy.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Her being in the bag, she still brings me so much joy. Well, then in February of the following year, we got a call from one of my younger of my two sisters, Shannon, and she said that a friend of theirs had rescued a cat from a construction site, not realizing she was pregnant, and then getting her home, and within a week, she promptly proceeded to give birth to 8 kittens.
Oh, wow, big family.
7 absolutely beautiful gray ones, and 1 black one. And we went over there, and on the drive over, my wife said, how are we going to pick one? And half jokingly, I said, well, one will probably pick us. And so we got there, and we, played with the other kittens, because the black one wanted nothing to do with us. He was laying on a desk in a sunspot. So eventually the other kittens wandered off, and as soon as they did, my wife looked at me and she said, well, I guess we'd better pick one. And as soon as she said it, he hopped down off the desk and crawled in her lap.
Oh, how sweet. And what is his name?
Panthertino Ninja.
Okay. You've got very creative names. Yeah.
That's because their dad's a dork.
Oh, no, you're not a dork. You're part of the Take Two family. I think it's pretty cool. Christopher, that's awesome. I mean, you know what's beautiful about it? I think that's the one thing great about pets, if you would agree with this. I mean, you had that with the first kitten that you got attached to, and then you had to give the kitten back. But there's others that are waiting for that love, and they're waiting for that home. And I think that's why we're doing this show, just to remind folks that there are these beautiful God's creations that are waiting for us. And I think it's a great story. Thank you for sharing it with us. Jerry, I don't know how much you caught of Christopher's story, but it's all about kittens.
Yeah, I didn't catch a whole lot of it, Christopher. I'm sorry. I had all of a sudden my power just went completely out, and then it came right back on. So I had to boot up my computer again and the equipment that we used to do the show. So I am back, but I just love these stories, and these are the stories that make it so much more heartbreaking when you hear about animals being abused. People who are just mean to their animals and kick them and scream at them and leave them outside in the cold and snow or whatever, and don't feed them and let them get skinny and beat them and all this stuff. I mean, it's
just cruel. It's cruel.
Yeah, what could compel a person to do that, especially once you've had a pet like Christopher has had and like the others of us had? It really it softens your heart completely to these, like you said, these creatures of God, Debbie. We tend to kind of humanize them sometimes. I know, not in any strict sort of way, but they are just great additions to our lives.
They are. Thank you, Christopher, for gracing this conversation. We appreciate it. Pet those cats for us. I'm sure they're just adorable in your home. And we want to move on to Jacqueline. And Jacqueline's in Owensboro, Kentucky on Savior Radio and is a first-time caller. Hi, Jacqueline. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you so much for having this radio station in Owensboro. I love it.
You bet.
Thank you.
My story starts with I'm a foster mom, and I had these two wonderful children. Their names are Kayla and Leland, and they've been with me for quite some time. And I pretty much just decided they were not going anywhere anytime soon. And they saw this kitten outside. And let me preface the story by telling you, I am not a cat person. I am a dog person. So anyway, they saw this cat. They were playing with it in the yard, and they would feed it water. And I kept trying to figure out where it came from because I wanted it to go home. And down the alley, I found it, walked back there, and it belonged to this new neighbor that had moved in. And there was also a man and a woman there, and I think a little kid. And the lady told me that she had bought it or had gotten it from the shelter for the little kid. And the cat just kept coming to our house, and it's like maybe it didn't like those people, or maybe it really just liked playing with my kids because they were 7 and 8 at the time, and their child was littler, like 4 or 5, and so anyway, my kids kept, can't we adopt a cat? Cat really likes us, and can't we get a cat? And I was like, no, we're not getting a cat. I don't like cats. I've never liked cats. I'm a dog person. But we don't have a dog. And so they're like, but Mommy. So I was really kind of getting worried for the cat. The cat, they said they moved in March, and it was like August, and, the cat's just down there, and my kids are feeding it. They asked me to buy cat food. I bought cat food. And it was really skinny and everything, and I was feeling sorry for it. So the kids were like, I think no one takes care of it. And so I went down and asked the gentleman that lived in the house, I said, is this your cat? And he's like, yeah, I don't want it. And I thought, how can you not want the cat that you went and got? Anyway, he tells me a story about how the lady of the house bought the cat, and she moved out, and they don't want the cat either. And I said, well, would you mind giving me the telephone number for that lady so I can make sure she doesn't want this cat? Because Kaylin and Leland would have been devastated if I got a cat and then the lady wanted it back. So I got the lady's phone number. She was like, no. And she told me all about the cat, when it was born. And anyway, the cat hadn't been fixed. And I'm like, we are not, this is expensive to get them fixed, because I called and it was kind of expensive. And this lady came up to me. It's a friend of my dad's. And she said, Jacqueline, I think you can get that cat fixed at the Humane Society for, a lot cheaper. So I called the Humane Society, and they said for $55, every so often they fix animals and they put me on the list. Well, they got me on the list for October because they love to neuter or spay or whatever you do to male cats. And so they put me on there, and $55. So anyway, I got the cat, taken care of. It got all its shots, and I let the cat come and live with us. And my my kiddos were just thrilled, okay, because it was now cold in October, and the cat was able to come in because it had all its shots. Well, the cat really brings us a lot of joy. So it really wasn't me that rescued the cats. It was my foster kids at the time, who I have now since adopted into my home as they're my forever family. And I love them. And crazy enough, I love that cat, Dudley.
Wow. Wow, Jacqueline, this is a story of just beautiful triumphs all the way around. Your family has grown with the addition of the cat and the addition of you taking the 2 foster kids in and adopting them as well. And I just love the way as you were describing it, the thought that came to my mind is the cat became yours unofficially before he became yours officially, because he definitely wanted to be there. And I'm just so glad, Debbie, that the circumstances worked out the way it did. It's kind of sorry to hear that this other gentleman, just didn't want the cat, go do whatever. But God provided for this little furry feline a place for it to live.
Yeah, I'm actually grateful to that guy that he was honest with you, because I think some people, don't want to admit that they can't take care of a pet or maybe don't want, the responsibility of caring for one. And so I'm glad that he was honest enough with you, Jacqueline, that he said that. And then you picked it right up, and the kids wanted you to get this beautiful cat. And I think you said that the cat's name is, did you say Dudley?
Yeah, the cat's name is Dudley, and I think that God must have come into my heart and changed my mind, because I have never been a cat person, but he's a member of the family now.
Yeah, he's a member of the family. Yep, he's there to stay. I love it. Jacqueline, thank you so much, and thank you for your beautiful story today, and tell the kids I'm glad they kind of nudged you a little bit into that field of bringing Dudley home, because I'm sure he just brings a ton of fun. Thank you, Jacqueline. Okay, let's Jerry, did you want to
I was going to mention Church Pop before we go to the next call.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping, because I love Church Pop. Comes in at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, every morning.
And I'll guarantee you, folks, there have been stories about animals, and probably some really interesting, quirky stories about animals, too. Church Pop is a service of EWTN. It features new online Christian content that's fun, it's informative, and inspirational. You will find it on Snapchat, Instagram, and on the web at churchpop.com. I really encourage you to check it out there. You'll learn a lot of stuff that you never would have known before.
Yeah, I love Church Pop. Like I said, mine comes in about 3 or 4 o'clock in my inbox. I love it. I love reading Church Pop. Okay, Jane is up next in San Antonio, Texas on Guadalupe Radio Network. Thank you so much, Jane, for waiting. You got our Patience Award today. Welcome.
Hi, Jerry and Debbie.
Hello.
I'm so happy to share with you a quick little story about my very special pet. Her name was Rosie, and I got Rosie. She was a full-bred Shih Tzu, and I got her from my neighbor because her Shih Tzu she had bred was having a litter, and she was a little bit nervous about how to help her deliver them. And I went over and helped, because when our kids were little, they grew up with a lot of labs, and so we were familiar with that. And so because I helped with the litter, she allowed me to have one of them, and she was just the most adorable dog. She was a perfect dog for me. During the time that I had her, she only lived to be 6 years old, but I had chronic lung disease, and during the time that I had her, I was very, very sick, and she was like my emotional support animal. She really, really was. Much more than that, of course. She was, a member of the family and everything, but she was just my perfect little dog. She was like a cream color with light brown, and every morning when I would pray, morning prayer on the Liturgy of the Hours, after I would pray, she would be in bed with us, of course, and my husband always got up a lot earlier than I did. And so I would stay in the bedroom and I would start to pray. And at the end of my morning prayer, you always say a Marian prayer or something. I would sing Salve Regina at the end. And she would get up and start stretching and she knew that once I got done with that song, then we were going to go out and she was going to go do her business outside. And she was just the perfect dog. I loved her so very much, and she helped me so much. Unfortunately, she died of something called canine hemolytic anemia. I don't know if you all have heard of it or not, but it's a disease where the immune system, her own white blood cells started to eat her, destroy her red blood cells. And she fought for about 4 months. I fed her, many times. She had blood transfusions. She went through a stroke. But she finally passed away. And it just broke my heart so much. I can talk about her now because it's been since she died in the summer of 2016. Right. I think it's the first time I've told her story where I'm not really crying a whole lot. Someone told me that her mission had been accomplished. And that comforted me some because she was like perfect dog for me, and she did serve a wonderful role. She had a beautiful life, and actually I got better. By the time she passed away, I was better.
Wow.
I was as acute. Yeah.
Good.
So that's my story. Rosie was
right.
a real special dog.
Yeah, I bet Rosie was. And I just want to say, Jane, you know what? This helps all of us because, Rosie was just being her authentic self. That's who she was created to be by our loving God. And she was being herself, and she did her part. And I think that is so beautiful, you sharing the story about her being that support to you during a tough time. And you're right. And that's the beauty of these wonderful creatures of God, and it's another way to, I think the beauty of it is always to point it back to God if you can, because He loves us so much. He wants us to be comforted during these times. And Rosie brought that for you, so I think it's a beautiful story. And we're glad you're doing well, Jane.
Thank you. Praise God. Thank you so much. I've enjoyed your program so much.
Oh, thank you, Jane, very much.
Thank you.
You are the ones who make the show what it is, and so we appreciate you so much as well. And, as Jane was talking about, finally losing that dog, it's kind of the flip side of the coin that we didn't talk about a lot today on the show. The joy they bring to us, all the blessings and all of the fun and all the quirkiness and all that. But we're very, very attached to them. I think of my dog Duke right now, who, God willing, has several more years of life left. But when he came, he had clearly been abused in some ways, and he still shows traits of that. And so every chance I get, I pick him up, I hold him, I say, Duke, no one's ever going to hurt you again, ever. I promise you that. And yet when I think of that day, if it ever does come, where I have to go in and have him put down, that just makes me bawl. And hopefully it's years away, but that's how much he means to me.
Yeah, well, he brings you comfort and joy, and absolutely, that's what our wonderful animals, our four-legged friends, do for us. Jerry, and we're talking about love, and let's continue that on to tomorrow's show. Tomorrow's going to be what have you done for the love of another? All the great lengths you go to prove your love to another person. I just wanted to say, Jerry, please make sure you post on Jerry and Debbie Facebook page. Actually, post the show and the pictures. Post everything, because everybody's waiting to see the pictures. And then also, too, I've got an update. During the show, the hospice doctors called, and my mother has a rare infection, and they're going to try to treat it. This is miraculous. So I'll have an update hopefully tomorrow.
Wow, her birthday was Friday. Her name is Connie. Please keep Debbie's mom in your prayers, and God bless you, Debbie, and your husband, Marty, for all the care, and Marianne and your family, all the care that you give to them. So, wow, what a beautiful show to start the week off, huh?
It surely has been. Thank you so much, folks, and until tomorrow, have a beautiful and blessed day. See you real soon.